No game captured the essence of human nature quite like The Last of Us. At our best, we're tender, sensitive and helpful to one another. At our worst, we're savage and unscrupulous, capable of heinous, inhumane deeds. The Last of Us Part 2 runs with similarly challenging themes as Ellie finds herself caught up in the middle of two warring factions, the odds stacked against her as she embarks upon a single-minded, vengeful mission, and it's every bit as uncompromising and brutally brilliant as its predecessor, placing you at the centre of a morally questionable world in which you're kept on tenterhooks throughout.
I got something.
A powerful, deeply affecting sequel, The Last of Us Part 2 is Naughty Dog operating at the height of its storytelling powers, delivering an emotional gut punch of a game that consistently confounds expectations. As Ellie, your fight for survival is fraught with danger throughout, as you come face to face with monstrous infected and extreme fanatical human factions given orders to kill you on sight. Among these is the Washington Liberation Front, the WLF, colloquially known as the Wolves, a well-trained, organised militia that's essentially taken over where the Fireflies left off in the first game. Far from being one-dimensional flesh bags to fill with holes, however, enemies in The Last of Us Part 2 all have their own lives and stories to tell, and as such the game serves as an intelligent treatise on the futility of violence, in whatever form it might take. That violence comes in sustained, enormously tense bursts, which have the capacity to shock and disgust in equal measure. Fittingly, the brutality takes its toll on you and Ellie both, indeed she visibly bears every cut, bruise and scar, while seeing the story from multiple sides makes you think twice about the various acts you're committing. Evidently, you'll learn that everything isn't as black and white as it may first appear. Regardless, you'll push your way from the relative peace of life in Jackson, exploring occupied Seattle, picking through seemingly abandoned buildings and encampments, systematically taking down humans and infected alike using whatever comes to hand. Ellie is smart and resourceful of course, so you're able to craft tools and upgrade weapons out in the field, from simple medikits and Molotov cocktails to trip mines and incendiary ammo. Supplement pills enable you to acquire upgrades to your abilities, while training manuals unlock new skill strands to augment Ellie's growing repertoire. Myriad options present you with a range of strategies to adopt during enemy encounters, and each time you do run into foes, the slightest misstep feels like it can erupt into a potentially fatal fracas. Bullets feel every bit as deadly as they should, and as they're in such short supply, found in quantities of 1 or 2 at a time, you'll find yourself obsessively hoarding them, maligning any time you miss a shot and fail to make the most of what few resources you do manage to scrape together. Sometimes a merciless, ruthless swing of a lead pipe or plank augmented with duct tape and scissor blades is the only way to go, especially when things get truly desperate and your back is up against the wall. There's always a way out of even the most seemingly insurmountable scenario. Impeccably designed, every encounter in The Last of Us Part 2 is open-ended, enabling you to adopt stealth, tracking enemy outlines using the first game's returning listen mode, or an all-out assault making every clash with the Wolves or Scars, a group of sinister religious zealots, an exercise in sustained, heart-in-mouth tension that rewards patience and ingenuity. Scoped rifles and shotguns are joined by silent options like the bow and arrow or a handgun with makeshift silencer, while outflanking enemies enables you to grab and take them down quietly, though not without a struggle. While the action hews close to that of the first game, it's refined and immediate, selecting weapons via the D-pad the only fiddly thing to contend with when you're under pressure. Perhaps a radial weapon select menu might have been a little more efficient. A near faultless alchemy of story and gameplay, the pacing too is pitched to perfection. More contemplative moments interspersed throughout Ellie's journey give truly memorable, often magical diversions from the harsh present she finds herself in. After some time exploring an open expanse of Seattle, The Last of Us Part 2 settles into a comparatively linear experience, allowing Naughty Dog to bring its narrative into sharp focus, ruminating on philosophical questions of good versus evil and the grey areas in between, as well as tribalism, obsession and redemption, all explored through enthralling set pieces and genuinely powerful story junctures that will often leave you reeling. Human stories are peppered all over The Last of Us Part 2's expansive world, be it in a mural on a wall, a hastily abandoned bedroom, a lone corpse clutching something in its bony fingers, or a simple note left behind for a loved one, breathing life into wholly believable environments. Notes and journal entries alone are well written. Indeed, this is one of the only games I've played where I voraciously consumed every little discarded scrap of paper and its contents, actively seeking out collectible odds and ends to learn more about what happened to people thrust into such a traumatic situation. It's these smaller touches, connections that feel real in a post-apocalyptic world that's lived in and relatable, that imbue The Last of Us Part 2 with heart. A culmination of every masterly story-driven title Naughty Dog has created to date, The Last of Us Part 2 is a bravura piece of work, an astonishing, towering accomplishment that raises the bar for what a video game narrative can say and achieve. Its unflinching, apparently senseless violence turns out to be anything but, and particularly during these times in which we're witnessing the extremes of human nature, The Last of Us Part 2 is not only a remarkable, expertly executed tale, it's also a chillingly plausible one that will stay with you forever.